Day, which
It
head
also
coach,
was the moment of Steph Curry's career. Continue.
which head coach are you rolling with in a win-or-go-home game? Is it Steve Kerr, Tony La Russa, Bill Walsh, or Bruce Bochy?
Wow. Is that the list?
Win-or-go-home game. That's the list.
Is that the list?
That's the list.
I think
Steve
that's a fair
Kerr,
list.
Tony La Russa, Bill Walsh, or Bruce Bochy. Bill Walsh won a lot of big games.
He lost some, too.
He lost a lot of big games.
But that's the nature of football.
No doubt.
You know,
I mean, the two guys who have Bill Walsh's number, and I remember I did this exercise in my note. I got it in my notepad. Bill Belichick,
yes.
Bill Parcells.
Well, as the DC, yes.
They had the formula to slow down the 49ers.
Vontae, I think I'm going to take Bochy.
I knew you were going to take Bochy.
B, what he did in these, like Ryan Vogelsong, like we were talking about Otto Porter Jr., what he did with Ryan Vogelsong is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in sports.
But did we say that you could do that in baseball, though?
It's different.
You could find lightning in the bottle.
But I also
like
think
the Kansas City Royals, we could name a pitcher with the Kansas City Royals.
To find lightning in a bottle one year is one thing. He did it 3 times. And I just look, again, different ace, a different center fielder, a different closer every single time. He did it with a variety of infielders. He had different cleanup guys or number 3 hitters, whatever you want to call it, around Buster Posey. Like, they did it with so many random guys. I love Bill Walsh. I think Walsh and Bochy, to me, 1A, 1B, and Kerr's right. I mean, he's right. We're picking among some of the greatest coaches in the history of their sports.
No doubt. 4 rings for Kerr, 3 for Walsh, 3 for Bochy.
Oh, I have a hard time.
Bochy now has 4. 888-957-9570. A win-or-go-home game. Who are you taking? Steve Kerr, Bill Walsh, Bruce Bochy, or Tony La Russa? There's really no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. If you're taking Bruce Bochy, that's fair. I can make the argument for Bochy. I can make the argument for Bill Walsh.
They were down 2-0 to the Reds.
I can make the argument for Steve Kerr. I will not make the argument for Tony La Russa because they had some big losses.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm not sure they beat the Giants in '89. If the earthquake doesn't happen, well, maybe they do. I'm not going to. I apologize, Dave Stewart. You guys are legit.
Well, like I look at the 2010 team with the cast-offs like Juan Uribe and Edgar Renteria and Freddie Sanchez and Aubrey Huff. I mean, are you kidding me? That team was like, there's just no way. No one saw that coming. 2012. Go down to the Reds, you go down to the Cardinals, and then you come out and you sweep the Tigers. That's the Hunter Pence speech with the seeds and everything. Like, it's one of the great moments. And 2014 feels to me like Bochy's version of the 2022 championship with Steph Curry, where Steph Curry and Steve Kerr found a way to get it done.
Bob Welsh.
And no one saw it coming.
Des Brown. Bob Welsh. Don't sleep on Bob Welsh.
Bob Welsh was sick.
He won 27 games one year
he
with
was
the A's.
sick.
27 games, dude. You imagine that? Nobody's winning 27 games no more. 27 wins.
To do the legal.
You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and AC1 San Francisco, and Odyssey
Such
Sports
a great
Station.
question.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Don't forget that you can also watch us every single day on our YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter streams, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Upgrade your savings dividend. Open a First NorCal first-class money market today. Who are you taking in a win-or-go-home game as we're celebrating Steve Kerr? He's had a decade. He's been here for a decade and a week. And he's about to go on and coach the Olympic Games in Paris. Like, when Steve Kerr was hired, what did people think? What did you think when Steve Kerr was hired? Did you think he was lasting 10 years? Hell, did you think he was winning 1 championship? Well, he did. His first year as head coach of the Golden State Warriors, and they won 67 games. Then they followed that up by going 73-9 and almost capped off the greatest season ever in NBA history. Then you run into LeBron in Game 7 and Kyrie Irving with the shot over Stephen Curry. You can't score in the last 5 minutes of the game. It was nasty work. It was really nasty, but a win-or-go-home game. Bochy pulled all the right numbers, but so is Steve Kerr. Think about Steve Kerr. They went to Houston up 3-2 with Kevin Durant back in the Bay Area, not knowing that Kevin Durant was going to come back that season.
It's true.
And I remember doing a show with the voice of the 49ers that day. He was freaking out, how they're going to do it. And I was like, you know what? I remember being in the locker room with the Rockets. They were devastated losing that Game 5. It's like the Warriors will find a way, and they found a way in Game 6. Hell, they almost found a way to send the Raptors in Game 7 without Kevin Durant.
I mean,
it was Klay Thompson.
I was so proud of that team.
The team was they were so good.
What's the moment for you when you say like win or go home? Why do you roll with Kerr? What's the moment? Because I have one. If I'm gonna make the case for Kerr, to me, and I'll let you think about it for a second. And I think a lot of people are gonna pick something different for me. It's Game 4 in Boston, down 2-1. When you didn't have the best team in the league, when I didn't think you were going to win a championship, when everything was against you, and Draymond Green, one of your best players and one of the icons of the franchise, is getting roasted.
Yeah. Yeah,
And you did it with Damian Lee and Jordan Poole and Otto Porter Jr. and Kevon Looney making plays and Clay hitting a three. Like
down 97-90 fourth quarter, Clay hits a big shot. Wiggins hits a big shot. Looney has a big put back, and they come back and win that game going away.
You won a championship with Andrew Wiggins as your second best player.
I mean, there's so many moments for Kerr. We were bringing up Game 4 against Cleveland.
That's the moment.
You're bringing up Game 4 against Memphis. What about Game 5 against OKC?
Well, I was going to bring up Game 5, Game 6.
Well, Game 6, obviously. That's the obvious one.
Yeah.
But people forget Game 5, they were down.
No doubt.
Instead, and I get goosebumps thinking about it to this day. I'm actually getting chills right now thinking about it. They used to have the TVs in the media section.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry's dribbling the ball past Marv Albert and Chris Webber. And the fans are standing up clapping. And they're going back to OKC. Steph Curry's just calmly dribbling the ball. We ain't going home.
The best.
We ain't going home. And I'm like, God damn. I'm like, damn. Like, I'm almost getting emotional thinking about that, saying we ain't going home. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you got to go to OKC and try to win the game. And he went to OKC and won a game. And they never panicked. And he got everything out of that basketball team. Now, you can maybe pinpoint some decision-making in that Game 7. Who you're going to play. Guys are dropping like flies when you don't have Andrew Bogut. When you have a compromised Andre Iguodala, you got Harrison Barnes who can't hit the backside of the barn. You're going to struggle trying to make decisions here with your rotation. So you can make an argument that Steve Kerr didn't have his best moment in Game 7. But those moments in Game 4 against Memphis and those moments in Game 4 against Cleveland helped shape the Warriors for a decade.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's just so many.
Bochy's got moments. I mean, going to Bumgarner in Game 7 when he did. 2012. Going to Lincecum come out the bullpen in that pivotal Game 5. Sticking with Sergio Romo against Jay Bruce. And that bat that gives me a headache to this day. What moment separates these guys? What's Bill Walsh's moment? Is it Soldier Field?
Well, that's the crowning achievement, I think, to go on the road and do that against that team with that defense. And when you're the finesse-ass 49ers, as Ronnie Lott always says. But I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboy game. I mean, you beat America's team at the height of their powers when Tony Dorsett and Danny White and Ed Too Tall Jones and Randy White and Drew Pearson and Tom Landry on the field and the arrogance of the Cowboys. Like that's the moment. And if you don't get the goal line stop in the Super Bowl with Dan Buns, you don't, it's not even a moment we remember.
Right. No, Bill Walsh's moment.
I mean, the 2-minute drive for Joe Montana also in that
Miami.
Cincinnati. Yeah, against Cincinnati the second
iconic.
time. Because to me, the calmness, the execution, the ability to execute, and then, if we really get into the details, Brent Jones was supposed to be on the field where John Taylor was. He couldn't find his helmet. He was so overwhelmed. And the beauty of the team is John Taylor knew exactly what to do, and he went in there, and the ball hit him just perfectly. It's
his only catch of the game.
I mean, it's just...
That's his only...
And my favorite is we interviewed Jerry, and Jerry's like, well, if JT would have blocked, I would have scored on the play prior.
Right. Now, this is an interesting question from Los D on YouTube. Vontae and Joe, what sport does a coach-manager truly make the most difference?
I think football, most people would say, is going to be at the top because every single play is scripted.
I would say football.
But at the same time, we all believe, great example. Is Belichick still really good?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so.
But when you have a garbage quarterback, none of that matters. You know what I mean?
Bochy had Posey as a manager on the field. And he had those great pitchers.
Yeah.
Who knew what to do.
I mean, to
me, the NFL, the coaches in football make the most difference, Low Steve. I would agree. I think it's football.
Yeah, I would agree.
No doubt.
Though I believe the NBA dynamic of power structure for the players is the most difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
And because the small amount of people in a small locker room, I actually think that's the hardest one to navigate because the egos can go so out of control.
Right.
The players have the most power of all the three sports, in my opinion, and they're so much more rich than what the coach is.
And what's different about Walsh and Kerr? Now I'm thinking about it here. Bill Walsh didn't want the players to like him. So he would yell at his coaches to piss the players off, and the players would want to fight for their positional coaches. Ronnie Lott and Bill Walsh had a big-time rift for many years. For many years, they did not get along. Steve Kerr wants to be liked. He gets along with his players great. The way he speaks, he just wanted to war for best coach in the media or whatnot. I get the specifics here on that. But Steve Kerr wants to be like it. He's had to manage egos. Hell, he's had to manage Draymond Green. We talk about 2016, Oklahoma City. Security had to go into the locker room, not to fight each other. He's had to manage the Kevin Durant ego. He had to manage the Steph Curry. Steph Curry's got an ego. You got to massage. We found out that Klay Thompson has a bit of an ego.
Plus the owner. I think part of the Bill Walsh enhancing is how crazy Eddie D was.
Right.
And having to navigate those waters.
And now we look at Joe Lakers in modern day Eddie D.
100%. Right?
That's crazy.
Isn't that part of it?
That is part of it. That is part of it. Winner go home game. Bochy. Wow, Bochy's still managing the Texas Rangers.
I mean, he won a ring in his first year with the freaking Rangers. Now, that team was very good offensively, but, no one thought that was going to happen.
So here's Kerr's record in winner go home games.
Give it to me.
6-2 in winner go home games.
It's pretty good.
The losses, Game 7 against Cleveland, Father's Day 2016.
That one sticks with me.
And Game 6 against the Raptors, the last game ever at Oracle Arena.
Everyone went down.
Bochy. This is insane.
I also believe had they won that game, they were winning Game 7.
Yeah, I do too.
I know that sounds absurd.
No. Shasky with Klay hit the 3 from 26 feet.
That's what I was thinking.
And I was like,
we're going back.
And then on my computer, the flight itinerary back to Toronto popped up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going back to Toronto for a Sunday Game 7. This is unbelievable. And then Klay goes down, and you're like, oh boy, how are they
notify the nightclubs?
No, notify the nightclub. Don't say that on there. Don't say that. Shout out Jason Dubas. And I'm telling you to speak easy.
So he's 6-2.
So he's 6-2. Bruce Bochy.
What is he?
Oh, this is unbelievable.
You give it to me. What is he?
I want you to guess.
9-3.
He's 10-1 in winner go home games.
No way.
10-1. So
I guess the one is to the Cubs.
The Cubs, 2016.
Wow.
So they beat the Pirates in the wild card. They beat the Mets in the wild card.
Wow.
They won 3 straight against Cincinnati. That's 5-0.
Cole that year.
3 straight against St. Louis. As well.
That was the one I was talking about. Yeah.
8-0.
They were down 3-1.
So what's the other 2?
Then there's the 6
Kansas City.
And then Kansas City, yeah.
Kansas
that was
City.
Game
So that's
7.
9.
So
they won Game 6 and 7.
There's two
getting 6 outs from their starters.
So 2010, did they have a winner go home game in 2010?
No,
they didn't have one in 2010.
There's 6 of them in 12. There was the wild card in 14, then Game 7 and 14. And then there was the wild card against the Mets. And then there was Game 3 against the Cubs. Remember, they were down 2-1
winner go home. Yeah.
They came back,
That's
won
a
in
good point.
extras, and then there was Game 4.
Wow.
Bochy, look.
Monte, make sure you don't miss that break, bro.
When it came to perfection, when it comes to calling on a player to pinch hit, calling on a reliever to come in, he's as close to the Godfather as it comes.
My boy D-Lou's not happy right now on YouTube.
Why?
Bill Walsh is rolling in his grave right now. I'm sorry you have to hear this,
We
legend.
love Bill Walsh.
R.I.P. Bill Walsh. Oh, I love Bill Walsh, D-Lou. Trust me. We're arguing about greats here. They're all great. There's no wrong answers. We'll continue on this conversation.